Okay, time for you to see what I do every day. Hey, how's it going? I'm Enrique, artist and illustrator. Today I'm going to go over basically what I do on a daily basis. This is kind of my own private drawing time, and almost always it's dinosaur drawing time. That's what I like. Don't judge. If you're here for dinosaurs, stick around and watch this drawing session as I talk over it. So let's jump right in.
Okay, so let's talk really fast about general daily sketching. And this is something you should be doing every day. If you're an artist and this is kind of what you want to do, something you should be doing is drawing for yourself every day. We all have that default thing that we like to draw. So I'll give you an example. For me, it's obvious from this channel. I like drawing anything with texture on it. I like things like dinosaurs, scaly animals, monsters. Those things, I love doing that. I like the bubbliness of skin, not in real life, but I'm saying for drawings, I just love that kind of bubbling up of skin. It just seems really cool. It just has this cool, I don't know, anything like that. I just love it. And it's fun to draw. So after I'm done with my general practice, after I'm done trying to learn, a little bit more about illustration or doing my illustrations or doing stuff like that or doing stuff that's, digital, I go back to drawing pen drawings like this and just kind of getting an action figure. This is from an action figure and just drawing it in my own style, right? It's not enough to just have the action figure. You gotta know things about anatomy and spacing and the way things are set up. So just kind of find what your default is. If your default is to draw people, which is a lot, right? That's a lot of artists. They go back and draw these cool, different angles of heads or different personalities of heads. I think whatever that is for you, totally find that. For me, when I first started drawing when I was 19, what I excelled at the most was this kind of stuff. Again, like I did a monster and I was like, whoa, that's the first thing that looks pretty good, right? It's like I took what I learned in an anatomy class and then you remix it to kind of mess around with it and you come up with these odd creations that, are truly yours. And that's the cool thing about it because you're remixing stuff, but at the same time, you are going back to kind of what's unique to your stuff. So, like, for example, stuff with with AI art is coming out. You need to press a button and things are remixed from, like, other artists. And it does abstract very, very well, but those kind of shapes are incredibly fun to do yourself. And I was gonna say, when you do stuff like that, there's something satisfying about it for me, right? Someone else might be satisfied of drawing a car, something like that, something more automotive. I get satisfaction from stuff like this. So the T-Rex here is this really cool, really, really, really cool figurine that I love. All right, let's take a break and play with the toys. The figurines are kind of like a big part of my life. If, I was buying them so much over, like, the pandemic. I just got into this hobby. Okay, I'll tell you the real story about why I really started buying that stuff was I remember I used to collect just cool figurines to draw all the time. But then it came to the point where I'm like, there's not enough space in my garage for this stuff no more. So what I ended up doing was I just kind of quit buying stuff, and I told myself I would never buy another action figure ever again. But what happened was one of my high school friends came back out of nowhere into my life, and he was super into going to these tiny conventions around town. There's a lot of big Comic Cons, but there's also these closet, like one room Comic Cons I didn't even know about through the city. And that's kind of what he showed me. He showed me the world of that. And so what happened was we started going to these, and as we went to them, he was obsessed with action figures, and it kind of rubbed off on me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Pandemic happens, right? And what ended up happening was through the break, I didn't know what else to do. Other than art, of course, but I did so much buying of these dinosaur toys all over the place. It was kind of getting out of hand, actually. But it's really one of my favorite loves to do, to kind of get this stuff. Now I am really hitting maximum capacity and probably can only get so much more. But yeah, anywho, that's pretty much the story of like the toys in my life and why I have so many of them. Yeah, if you want any of them, I'll put a link in the description to some of the ones I have. I'll put the Amazon link. If you click and buy them there, I think it'll help me out. I think it's like an affiliate code. But yeah, anyways, something about sketching you really need to know. Sketching is kind of like from the heart, and by that I mean like it's kind of this default mechanism. I don't believe that you like I've heard people say stuff like, oh, I don't want to, this is a really horrible quote, by the way, I don't want to learn how to draw because it's not going to help me create, or something like that, like from the heart or something like that. I can't remember who said that, but that's horribly wrong. That's a dumb thing to say, I think. You want to learn the aspects of art so that you can draw whatever you want. So this figure right here, this dinosaur, like it looks like he has weight. It looks, you know, like pretty solid. I couldn't do that if I didn't learn the basics of all drawing, right? And practice this stuff. I couldn't do that stuff. I wouldn't have this glee that I have doodling these dinosaurs if that was the case. So it's just something that, you know, I think you need. And if you do want to learn the basics, go check out my Skillshare. The Skillshare has everything you need, but then I'm also putting them on the main site, which is sketchingeasy.com. Go take a look at that as well. That's slowly being added to. Everybody should be able to draw what they want, right? And I don't mean like generating stuff on AI or anything. I'm talking about you. Like you have a sketchbook, you're in a cafe, you want to do this, you should be able to do this, right? For yourself, there's such a gratifying feeling in doing that. That even to me, even digital art, like even regular digital art cannot do. You know, like, I mean, I love digital art, by the way, but not AI art, but digital art. And there's a satisfying feeling you get from that. And there's a therapeutic feeling, there's a satisfying feeling, there's this feeling that you kind of accomplish something, right, for yourself. And that does translate to other parts of your life. Like for me, I'm like, oh, I can do this. What else can I do, right? Can I go play tennis? Well, I'm like, oh, I am horrible at this. I'm, you know, just like I was horrible at art for the first time, right? How can I systematize this? How can I get better at, you know, a sport? Kind of the same way, right? It's a little different because you're limited by genetics and stuff like that. So you do want to, there's some differences, but you want to repeat something, learn the structure of something, and then repeat it until it's like intuitive, right? There are phases of your learning. You're going through the, and I forget what they were. There's 4 phases. Everyone's kind of heard these. I've even talked about them, but it's good to know if you've never heard them. There's, when you first start anything, there's unconscious incompetence, right? You're completely unaware of what you're doing wrong. Then you start learning more, and you get into this stage called conscious competence, right? And that is pretty much where you are doing things wrong, but you're fully aware of it now. Now you can see it, and it's like, oh man, I know this is not correct. What do I do? Then you get into conscious competence, meaning you're fully aware and you're doing stuff correct most of the time than not. And then you get finally to the last, and the last is unconscious competence, meaning you're unaware of how good you're doing. Like you are aware of it, but like you don't have to think very hard anymore, right? You're not putting all your brain power. And the truth is, I think with something like sketching, and art like this, especially, you know, traditional stuff, you are almost always thinking. It's just that you don't have to, like, you're not straining yourself as hard, and you're not putting yourself under that pressure. So don't feel like you're never going to get better, because I talk to a lot of people like that. There's so many artists, young artists that I talk to that feel they're never going to get better. This isn't something you're born with. It's not like anything like that, right? That goes back to that sport analogy, right? Like if I wanted to be in the NFL, I probably could not be in the NFL. I would be crushed. Maybe I could be a quarterback. Probably not even though. Even if I tried. Well, I'd have to try from like when I was like really young. Mostly because of my, you know, my body and stuff like that. But I could be pretty good, right? At street football, stuff like that, you know, around the neighborhood. All the little kids, right? I'm the only adult. But no. So, like I said, with art, anyone can learn. I can take my grandmother, who is like 80-something, and I can teach her how to draw something somewhat okay, right? And if she practiced, if she actually liked it and practiced it, she could get better in a couple of years. I'm not joking about that. Because I have seen people start this at a late age. But anyways, that is it. Just thought, you know, there was a couple of good, you know, flakes of ideas in there. This is a dinosaur drawing session. I absolutely love doing this stuff. I'll do more of these if you enjoy. If anyone wants to talk to me about dinosaurs, I can do that as well. It's kind of one of my side hobbies that I do put into my art a lot, but I don't often talk about it, right? To other people, like, hey, like dinosaurs, you know, like a dinosaur nerd. That's it. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe, click the bell notification, all of that stuff. And yeah, hopefully you're having a great day. Talk to you soon, all right?